Men are done with women for one simple reason. Too many women are shouting, "I don't need a man," until she needs to put up shelves, until she has to move homes again, or until something too hard or too dirty lands on her plate.
So this is the only time in history where we have experienced women pushing men away. The only time in history when women seriously thought that men were no longer needed after building society. The only time in history where women were delusional enough to believe that they can do it all on their own. And what were the results of that? Now they are screaming for help. Guys, it's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back on Angry Guys YouTube channel. If you haven't heard of me, go ahead and follow me on Andy Matrix Gaming. I talk about anime, Japanese culture, and gaming content, right? So if you're into any of those things, make sure to click the link in the description and follow me. And guys, make sure to like this video, leave a comment below, and share this video to help push us up in the algorithm, as YouTube algorithm, it keeps messing us up. And, we're just trying to, I guess, stay relevant, And also, guys, make sure to follow Angry Guy on Rumble, because he's got some content over there that's not allowed on YouTube. So, if you want to check out that exclusive content that's not allowed on YouTube, go click the link in the description. Follow him on Rumble, and go check that out. And guys, I keep saying the economy's in shambles. We've lost millions of jobs. There's millions of people laid off, unable to work, unable to find another job after getting laid off. And many people are going to have to wrestle. They're going to have to seriously compete so hard that it's going to be so exhausting. A lot of people are just going to start their own side hustles, their own businesses to make money, right? And what better way to make money than on the internet? And that's why Angry Guy created the Content Creator Academy, where he's going to teach you to do exactly what he did: build an audience, create a digital product, and start generating an income on the internet. So click the link in the description. Check out the Content Creator Academy by the Angry Guy. And now, let's move on with the show. Okay, guys, so the title of this video is Single Woman Can't Pay Their Rent. And so today we're going to be reacting to a YouTube channel. This lady is named Inspire Her? What the heck? I can't pronounce that. But anyways, the title of this video is Women Push Men Away, then expect their help. We talked about this countless times. So let's go ahead and get started. Here we go.
Men are done with women for one simple reason. Too many women are shouting, "I don't need a man," until she needs to put up shelves, until she has to move homes again, or until something too hard or too dirty lands on her plate. Then magically, men aren't useless anymore. They're needed and expected at the drop of a hat. Called up immediately to swoop to the rescue.
Yeah, this has happened to me many times. This happened to me many times. Like when you're needed, they call you and you're a freaking superhero, right? But as soon as the job is done, you're right back to being a freaking peasant. You're right back to being a freaking peasant. It's like if there was a button, I think if there was like a button where like the girls can push, like the feminists can push a button and then just summon an electrician, a mechanic, or something like that, a plumber. Summon a plumber, shows up, does the job, and disappears. I think if they could have it that way, that's how they would do it, right? That's how they would do it, you know. And this is why a lot of dudes are saying that a collapse is needed, an absolute societal collapse is needed, to put an end to feminism, right? Because, one of the reasons why feminism is so strong in America, Canada, the UK is because it's funded by the government. I keep saying this, right? That's why women have become this way. Is because, the movement is funded. It's funded, and a lot of things that are about men, male programs, have been defunded. It's true. And I started noticing this back in the 2010s when there were programs for boys in universities and schools that were defunded, and then the girls programs were funded. right? And so, because, society, or rather the government and all these organizations, put more emphasis on the females, right? Or at least they pretended to. They pretended like they give a crap, but they really don't. They really don't. They funded all these female programs. Women started to get cocky. Women started to get cocky. You know what's funny? You know what's funny? I find it absolutely hilarious that when a woman makes a lot of money, she thinks she's at the top of the world. She thinks she's so above average that she doesn't need a man anymore, and that she doesn't, that she deserves better. In other words, right? But when a man is rich, when a man becomes successful, right? What does he do? He gets a woman, and usually he will get a woman that doesn't have much, right? Usually, that's why you see the passport bros going to countries like, the Philippines and Thailand, and then we get one of these women that are quote unquote poor, and then we give them a good life. That's something that God put in men to do, right? So the rich dude, they'll usually marry a woman that doesn't have much, right? Or a woman that's not at his level. He'll marry her, give her children, give her a house, all these things, right? A man can literally change a woman's life in like so fast. So fast, bro. You know? But hey, we're peasants. As soon as you're done fixing her car, they don't need you no more. At least in America, that's the mentality.
But the reality is, most men won't bite anymore. But sadly, most hyper independent women always hold a good man around. A guy who is friend zoned just to be called up when she needs help. And men are exhausted. Men are done with this type of behavior of modern women. Because you cannot push men away publicly and shout out that you're such an independent boss babe, but privately depend on them.
So what she said about these male friends, right? The guys that are on the friend zone that hover around these chicks. I've seen this happen so much, man. I've seen this happen so much. Like we blame things on feminism and like and OnlyFans and all this shit, right? And all these problems on feminism. And it is true, that's part of it. But another part is the simps, bro. Is the simps. Like a lot of these types of chicks, they have male friends, right? They have male friends. And the only time I see being friends with a woman is when I'm not like romantically interested. If I have no romantic interest on her, then I can be friends. It's okay to be friends. Or the only other time that you're quote unquote friends with a woman is like back in when you were in school, right? Because when you're in high school, you don't really take shit seriously. You don't really take relationships seriously. You're not thinking about marriage and all these things, right? You're not thinking about this. So it's easy to just be friends with a girl. But a lot of these dudes, you know, they and I it is kind of funny. I've seen when I was in college, I think who was it? There was one girl. She would be walking around and she would be walking around with like three, four, like four male friends, quote unquote male friends. All these dudes, all these betas will be just like following her wherever she goes. Like, oh, I'm gonna go over here. And then like all these three dudes just be following her. Hoping that one of them will like, get to her, be able to sleep with her or whatever the fuck. And this is how girls boost their egos. This is why so many girls think that they are above fucking average. Is because there's so many simps, right? There's so many simps willing to do their bidding. Follow them around. I remember who was it? I had a friend who he was taking care of this girl's house, right? This girl had a house and she trusted him to take care of the house, right? And I was like, so is this something? Is she like paying you? And he's like, no, she's not paying me. Oh, I thought this was like a gig, like kind of like a side job or something. He's like, no, I'm just taking care of the house for her. It's like, oh, okay, so are you guys like dating? He's like, no. And I'm like, so why are you doing this? He's like, oh, because she just told me to, and I did her a favor. How long did you know this girl? Oh, I met her like 2 months ago. Did you have sex with her? No, not really. Oh man. And you know what's the funny thing about this is that girls are really good at spotting out these dudes. You know, these dudes, these beta males, these beta male orbiters, right? They're easy to spot out. Women can smell these types of dudes from a mile away. And then they quote unquote befriend these dudes. You know something, they might the girls might, maybe they give them a BJ here and there to just to keep them around, right? Something like that. Just to keep them around, or they'll give them a kiss here and there just to make them feel like to make them feel like like they have a chance, right? Just to keep the guy around, just to keep him hovering around, right? Just to keep him hovering there, right? Right, and to keep the guy doing her favors, oh, buying her things, taking care of the house, fixing her car, you know. Girls get a lot of free things from men. It's absolutely hilarious, bro. And guys, not only is dating absolutely awful nowadays, but the economy is in shambles. The economy is going down. We've had millions and millions of layoffs. There's a lot of people going, becoming homeless, living in their cars, living in RV storage units. It's absolute chaos out there in the American economy. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the economy in the UK and I believe Canada as well is getting harder and harder to find a job. And people that get laid off, they just it takes in a million applications to find another job. And people are competing harder than ever to land a job. And as it gets harder and harder to get another one of these jobs, what people are starting to do is, they're finding ways to make money, starting their own businesses, their own side hustles, right? And what better way to make money than on the internet, which is why the angry guy created the Content Creator Academy, where he's going to teach you how to create your own business online, build an audience, right? And create a digital product where you can start earning income and say goodbye to the 9 to 5. If you sign up today in the link below, then you'll get a free guide. And yeah, so go ahead and check out the Content Creator Academy. Learn from the angry guy. You got to find a way to make money, especially the internet. The internet is vast. The internet is huge. The internet got billions of people on it. So click the link in the description, check out the Content Creator Academy, and let's get on with our video.
When it is at your convenience. And ladies, this is not to shame you or guilt you, but this is to wake you up to what is happening with many women in this day and age. I see it happening all around me. The women that I know that are most feminist and most shouting for independence are always the one that have a guy on speed dial for help. Let's get clear on one thing.
See, what people don't understand is that what a lot of these girls want is they want the benefit of having a man around without having any commitment. Right? So kind of like a robot. They want to have the benefits of having a man around without having any commitment to a man. You understand? And I've seen this. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons why when girls, after getting run through by Chad and Tyrone or having high body counts, girls would marry a guy that has a nice career, right? That has a nice career and is easy to cheat on. It's easy to cheat on. Oh, you think I'm joking? Why do you think these cases were like 20 years later, a man finds out that the children that he's been raising are not his? How do you think this happens, right? So a woman, they'll find a guy that has a nice career, right? And behind his back, she'll be having sex with Chad and Tyrone, getting pregnant by Chad and Tyrone, and then she'll go home and she'll, I don't know, after she's done with Chad and Tyrone, she'll let the beta male dude that she married, ejaculate inside her. Right? Or they'll do something like that. And another thing that they will do is that they'll take money from this man and then they'll give it to the guy that they're having sex with, right? The man that they actually love. But here, the problem is that the bad boys, the real bad boys that women love, right? Those bad boys usually don't have any money. They're broke. They're broke. So they'll take money from men that make a lot of money, like the computer scientist or the freaking doctor, right? The guy that they're married to. They'll take money from that guy and give it to the guy that they really love. You know, the bad boy, the guy that's blowing her back when her husband is busy at work. You know? And that's why I said, like, a lot of these girls, they want the benefits of having a man around without having to be committed to that man. And that's why some girls, that's why they have male friends. They'll have one, two, three male friends fixing her car, buying her things, doing this and that and shit, you know? But those days are coming to an end because a lot of dudes, and if you see this all over the world, in China, everywhere, like a lot of simps are waking up. I mean, obviously, there's still like a good amount of them, but there's a lot of simps that are waking up, dude. It's happening.
You cannot disrespect men, reject men, and tell them that you do not need them, but then still rely on them. Respect has to go both ways. But the sad reality is that hasn't been like that for years, and men are walking away. But before I deep dive on why men have stopped helping women, make sure to like and subscribe for more content on healthy masculine and feminine dynamics. I know a whole bunch of women who swear that they are hyper independent, strong, feminist women. We all know the type that shouts around, I don't need a man. But as soon as they need their shelves put up, their sink fixed, a tire changed, or anything that is slightly uncomfortable or inconvenient, guess who gets a phone call? The man in her life.
Okay, so here's another thing that a lot of girls don't seem to understand. You know, they think this makes me laugh. This makes me laugh because they think that they don't need a man. So they're like 30 years old, 40 years old, and single, right? Single women, right? 30, 40 years old. And they got their own job. Maybe they work at a corporate office somewhere, which, by the way, a lot of those jobs are getting rid of. A lot of these white collar jobs are eliminating jobs and they're automating. They're automating these jobs. And so many of these chicks, they're going to be without a job. And what are they going to do? Go into blue collar? Go into blue collar, do welding, construction. Anyways, so these chicks, they'll have an office job, maybe HR, some type of office job, making $50,000, $80,000 a year. A lot of them actually have good salaries, really good salaries, right? And they think, oh, well, I'm independent. I got my own money. I got my own car, my own apartment, yada, 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 yada. I don't need a man, right? But when shit goes down, even if they don't have a husband, when things go down, who do they call? They call her. She calls her dad. She calls her big brother. She calls her uncle. She calls her grandfather. So even though they're single and they don't have a husband or boyfriend, they still call their male family member to help out. They want to pretend. They want to pretend like they're independent, but they're really not. I mean, I have female family members like cousins, people like that. They'll wait. They will wait until, let's say, one day when you show up, like to visit, and then when you go to visit, right? What do? They start asking for favors. Hey, can you do this? Can you fix this real quick? Right? Can you fix this real quick? They'll wait for one of their family members to show up at their house, or they'll invite them over. Hey, you want to come over for dinner? You show up for dinner. You say, hey, there's something wrong with the car. Can you check it real quick? Yo, I'm telling you, it's like, it's a game. It's a game. It's an illusion. It is an illusion. There is no such thing as an independent woman. I mean, unless she's willing to do all these things, by herself, like fixing the car, do the plumbing, or fixing something in the kitchen, or picking up a hammer and nail and start hammering things. These uncomfortable jobs that men are always doing, especially when it has to do with cars, vehicles. Yeah. When these things happen, then they need a man.
her father, her boyfriend, any male friend that she has in her life. Whoever is close enough to come to the rescue, basically. And it is funny to me to realize that how many of these hyper-independent feminist women always have a man on speed dial. First of all, ladies, there's absolutely nothing wrong with needing help. We all need help sometimes.
Okay, sorry. Another thing that I wanted to say, because we do have the feminist movement, but then I've seen parents that they tell their daughters, or rather, there's parents that tell their daughters to get a job and be independent so that they don't need a man. So there's parents that they motivate their daughters to be single. I've seen this. I've seen fathers tell their daughters, do this and this, and so that you don't need a man. And I always wonder, why would you tell your daughter to be that way, right? Why would you encourage your daughter to be single? It's like you're setting her up to be single. It's a setup, right? It's a freaking setup to be single. Right? So it's something that the parents do to their daughters. And then their daughters, because they tell her that for the longest time. And then when the daughter gets into a relationship, she don't even know what to do. She don't even know what a man wants, how to maintain that relationship with that man. And that's why there's so many single women. Because we are always taught, like, men are always taught how to treat a girl, but when it comes to how a woman should treat a man, there is no course. There's like no online course on that. There's like no morals taught by the parents, school, anything. It's just a one-way street. It's absolutely ridiculous, man.
But the thing is, you need to be strong enough to admit that you need another person for help. Needing someone's help or needing a man's help is not an attack on your independence, and it doesn't make you vulnerable. But let's agree, stop pushing man away. Stop rolling your eyes at man. Stop calling men useless, and stop saying that you don't need them, but privately relying on them when something is hard or inconvenient for you. Because no one, no man or woman has to accept that or will respect that.
Okay, so you know how people used to say, "Oh, men have such big egos." Men have such big egos. Egoistic men. Men are such so egoistic. And you know what? The truth is that men are. Men. The part of being a man is like this big ego that we have, and also men tend to be more stubborn, right? Men tend to be more stubborn. But nowadays, in this modern age that we're living in, it seems to me that women are actually more stubborn and more egoistic than men. Men are actually humbling themselves. A lot of men are actually, humbling themselves. There's more men going to church. Or rather, let me rephrase that. There's more men following Jesus Christ, becoming more religious, being more spiritual. And women are becoming more liberal, more materialistic, demanding more things that they don't deserve. Right? So it's like men are, it's like women are the egomaniacs now. They're not willing to learn. They're not willing to learn. They think that they deserve everything. They're very entitled. They don't want to learn anything. In the self-help industry, if you ever read any type of self-help books, whether it's Robert Kiyosaki or How to Win Friends and Influence People, the self-help industry, like Tony Robbins, things of that nature, there's actually more dudes in that industry than there are men. There's actually more dudes working on themselves than there are women working on themselves. I don't know. It's like, because girls just think that they don't have to do anything. They don't have to do it. They don't have to improve. It's almost as if there's like no such thing as improvement if you are a girl. People are just supposed to accept, people are just supposed to deal with your fucking bullshit. Oh, I'm a girl. You're supposed to deal with my I don't know, toxic behavior, right? That's what they believe. That's what they believe. Anyways, let's go back to the video.
Now, this is exactly the reason why so many men are walking away from women today. And it's not because they don't want to help. Men love to help. Men love to offer their service for people that they care for. It is in their nature. But it is exactly because of this attitude that I don't need a man. Oh, yeah, when it's hard and when it's dirty and when it's difficult, I actually do want men around. Ladies, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. You do realize that, right? I mean, we see it everywhere online. These hyper independent feminist women shouting that they don't need men, that men are useless. They have their own money, they have their own job, they have their own career. What are men used for anyway? But as soon as something involves tools, strength, any physical labor, Dad, can you come over to help me?
Okay, so after she said that, now I have a question. I have a question for all you fathers out there. If you are a father, right? If you have a daughter, like, if you have a daughter watching this video, like, do you ever wish she would just get married and leave you alone? Right? Do you feel that way? Because I understand now. I'm starting to understand why parents want their kids out of the house, like at the age of 18. I mean, not that I'm not advocating for kids to be kicked out of that age, like the boomers, right? But now I understand, especially for the female, right? Like, if you are a father, and because I'm assuming if your daughter's in her 20s, she got her own car and all that shit, she's probably calling you up like, hey, Dad, can you check out the car, do this, do that, right? Do you not wish, don't you ever wish you would just get married to somebody so that she would leave you alone? It's just a question. I'm just asking a question, right? I'm just asking a question. I'm not trying to be mean, but like after what she said, that yeah, like as soon as things get difficult, they call a man to help them over, you know. But another thing that bothers me. This is an American thing. This is like an American Western thing, right? Where like women think it's like a bad thing to get a man to help. It's just absolutely freaking ridiculous. Because if you go to other cultures, like in Latinos, Mexico, Colombia, Costa Rica, the Latin America, this is not something that women worry about. Like women know, like, hey, yeah, I need a man. In Asia, they know I need a man. Like there's Japanese women that they're single and they never been married in their 30s, but they know I need men. It's only here on this side of the world that girls are like, oh, I don't know, man. This is a brand new idea. This is like a brand new philosophy that men are not needed. The very people that built the world are not needed. It's freaking crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You don't see this anywhere else. You don't see this anywhere else. I mean, in African countries, do women say, oh, we don't need men? It's really only in rich countries that got money like America, Canada, the UK, and even the Chinese women. But at least the Chinese women are coming to their senses. Western women are way stubborn, really, really, really freaking stubborn, bro. Anyways,
Babe, could you fix the sink? No, I think you should do it. It's kind of a man's job. Now we suddenly do have men's jobs? Ladies, if you truly are independent and empowered, strong woman, fix your own tire, fix your own sink, carry your own heavy stuff, and don't say that you don't know how to, because YouTube is your friend.
okay, so now that she mentioned that, like, telling women to go do the heavy work themselves, there are some simpy guys out there that will say something like, "Oh, but there's women working in construction. There's women that are handymen or handywomen, right?" And that is true. That is true. And there are women now that are looking into blue collar work, like welding, or like welding, things like that. And there are women that work in construction, but guess what? Guess what? They don't do any of the heavy work. Even in construction, you go to a construction site, and out of like 20 or 30 people there, right? Only two or three of them are women. The rest are men. And most of the women that work there, they work either in the office with a clipboard, right? Or you'll see them working with a machine, and they're using the machine to do the heavy lifting, to lift up the freaking rocks and break the things in the construction site. Right? But there are some simps out there, man. I tell you, there are some freaking simps out there. Like, you know very well that you would not want to see your mom, your girlfriend, your sister, your aunt, your grandma working in a construction site, breaking her back. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. And usually the girls that work in these types of jobs, like the blue collar work, this doesn't apply to all of them, of course. But they tend to be very masculine chicks, and they don't. And many times they tend to not look very feminine. You ever notice that? Right? And look, there are girls that work in as mechanics because they have a passion for cars, right? There's girls that they really like working with cars. They like those types of vehicles, so they want to get into that industry, right? But they don't do a lot of the heavy work. The heavy work is always given to the dudes. Using shit. I forget the name of that tool, but using that thing, shit. What do you call it? A wrench? No, not a wrench. No, the one that spins, the electronic one that spins, right? The heavy work is given to the guys. I forgot the name of these tools in mechanics. But yeah, you guys get the point.
All right, ladies, I think you get my point. Do understand that it is okay to ask a man for help. If you want to ask a man for help, do it with respect. Do it with kindness and appreciate the effort that he makes for you. Women have to stop using men as if they're only for their service when needed. I mean, show some respect for your fellow humans. It doesn't matter if they're men or women. Ladies, please do understand that men have stopped helping women because they sense the hypocrisy. Trust me.
When a woman only calls a man for help, for service, like to fix the car, to fix the plumbing, to fix a table or something breaks, or to lift the furniture in and out of the apartment or the house, right? That is the equivalent. It can easily be said that this is the equivalent of a guy calling up a girl whenever he wants sex. We could easily say that, right? So if it's perfectly okay for girls to call a guy to do physical labor, right, for free, then we should normalize calling calling chicks whenever we want to get laid. I mean, I'm obviously joking, but I mean just tonight, just something I thought I'd throw out there. Just something I thought that I would throw out there. Come on.
Men are tired of it. Modern feminism has put this idea in the head of women that to rely on a man is bad, is weakness. But when it's for your own convenience, then suddenly it's fine to rely on a man. You cannot push men away with your one hand and drag them back with the other. You cannot insult men and then expect for men to come and help you. You cannot reject masculinity and then suddenly depend on it. And like I said, it is okay to ask for help. Don't be ashamed of that, but at least admit it. I think women also need to understand that men aren't stupid. Men are, for this reason, no longer helping these hyper-independent women. On one hand, because, well, they're independent. They can do everything themselves, right? That is what they've been shouting around. And on the other hand, because they're tired to be treated as free on-call labor.
Women don't learn. Women really don't learn. They don't learn. They don't really understand that men don't care about how successful they are. A man does not care about how successful you are, or if you make $100,000 a year, $1 million, right? There was a comedian that made a joke. I forgot his name. Yeah, I think it was like half Asian, half American. And he made a joke saying that, like you never see dudes lining up to see a female celebrity, right? You never see dudes lining up to see a female celebrity, or at least not many, not many. And the reason why you don't see a lot of dudes doing that is because um, we could just go to the supermarket and see a cute girl right there. Right. There's a cute girl at the supermarket. There's a cute girl working at the freaking, I don't know, at the mall. Just go up and talk to her, right? That's why dudes don't really obsess so much about over celebrities. Like you go to concerts. I remember back in the 2000s, there were girls throwing their panties, right? Their panties at the at NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. You guys remember that? The Backstreet Boys and NSYNC with Justin Timberlake in the 2000s? Yeah, in the concerts, girls would throw their panties at them. You don't see dudes doing that shit. You don't see guys like obsessing over like a very, very like rich, powerful woman. I mean, don't get me wrong, we'll beat off to her. We'll beat off to her, but we don't really like obsess over her like that, because we know there's a cute girl at the grocery store, there's a cute girl at the mall, there's a cute girl down the street. Or now, I mean, that was before, but nowadays, oh, I guess I'll just take a trip to Thailand. There's, just walk around the streets of Thailand, and there'll be chicks there. You know, yeah. So, girls, they don't really understand this. They think, oh, I make a lot of money. I'm very successful. I'm very independent. Any man is gonna want me. Who told you that? Who told you that? You see how easy it is to fool girls, to like manipulate women and to lie to them. I could do that. I could do that, but I'm a good guy. I'm a man of Jesus Christ. I'm not the manipulative type. But you see how easy it is. How easy it is to fool them. And it goes back all the way to the Garden of Eden. Or like God told them, don't touch the freaking apple in the tree of knowledge. And Eve was the first one to fall for the lie. She was the first one to go and pick from the tree. And then, of course, Adam had to pay for it, right? Anyways, let's go back to our video.
Okay, let's flip the script. Do you like it when a man only uses you for a good night? Of course you don't. And men also don't like to be used just to help out or for on call labor. If you want men in your life, treat them with respect and with appreciation, with kindness and with warmth. Stop pushing men away with your independent, boss babe, aggressive, masculine energy. Acknowledge the ways that men are showing up for you in your life and be open and expressive about that. Stop expecting the benefits of masculine support, but rejecting the man who provides it for you. Because at some point, and I tell you, we are very close, men will stop showing up. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope that it was helpful for you and you picked up some advice from it on how to treat men and how to actually respect men. If you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel because this helps to get my message out to a wider audience so we can find each other again in healthy connection. If you want to support my work, you can find a couple of ways in the description box down below. But the easiest way is to sign up for my mailing list for the book that I'm writing. The book is called The Shadow Side of Feminism, and it explores if feminism has accidentally cast a shadow over modern man. If you're interested in this book, you can sign up in the mailing list in the link in the pinned comment or the description box.
And there you have it, folks. Now, this lady here, this YouTuber, I'm very careful. I'm very careful when recommending certain people, certain YouTubers, certain female creators, because some of them tend to be, chameleons. They're chameleons. They're just agreeing with men because they're looking to profit off of the manosphere. They're looking to profit off of MGTOW and the red pill, right? Girls like the Real Femzel and Pearly Things. I mean, Pearly Things has been caught many times. Pearly Things, she doesn't really do what she preaches, but she does tell the truth. And I think this is just one of those channels that they tell the truth about feminism, about female nature, about dating, about our society. But she might not actually put all of that into practice, right? She might not actually put that into practice. So there are some chameleons out there. I mean, if you want to go and check out this girl's channel, go ahead and do it. With being careful, of course. Like look through her recent videos and see if she is a creator that you would like to follow, right? Um, you know, Again, like I said, there's a lot of chameleons. Some people pretend like that they care about men's issues, but at the end of the day, it's really up to men to solve our own problems, especially in the Western world. But hey, whatever your thoughts are about this content, make sure to like this video, comment below, tell me what you think. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. Guys, it's your boy Andy Matrix. Godspeed, baby.